Hey, welcome back. We have been to Burlington, Clinton, Savannah, Columbus Junction, and now today we are continuing our traveling book club, Current Reads, with the LeClaire Community Library. And we have the privilege of welcoming Library Director Melita Tunnicliffe into the studio with us today. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you, Shelby. Thank you for inviting me.
Okay, when I asked you for 3 of your most popular books in LeClaire this summer, you went the nonfiction route. Why that route?
I have to admit I'm a big nonfiction fan, but you know, I think a lot of the fiction books that are popular people are already aware of, and this is something they may not be aware of. But these are 3 books that we can't keep on the shelf.
Yeah, you were telling me some of these you had to borrow from friends because you couldn't even find them at the library.
Yeah.
Well, let's start with the one closest to you, An Unfinished Love Story. Tell me about this book.
Okay, this book, it just came out this year, and this is by Doris Kearns Goodwin, which people might know from her famous book, A Team of Rivals, about Abraham Lincoln. And she's a history author. And she got her start working in the White House with Lyndon Johnson. And her husband also, Richard Goodwin, worked with JFK, Lyndon Johnson, Bobby Kennedy. And so they had been together 45 years, married 42 years. That's the love story. And towards the end of their life, they found they had 300 boxes of papers, photos, diaries, and they decided to tackle that and go through them. Unfortunately, Dick didn't survive to the end of the project. That's the unfinished love story, the unfinished project, but Doris did finish it. I find it fascinating because you learn about history from people who are in the front row.
Yeah.
They were in the White House.
Oh, and you have such a beautiful memoir and romance woven through that the whole way. But the next one is really a hot topic here. Talk about The Anxious Generation.
The Anxious Generation is by an author, Jonathan Haidt, who is a social psychologist and observes society and problems. He noticed that among Gen Z, or kids who were born since 1995, there's been a huge growth in anxiety disorders and depression, and he went to look in what he thought was causing that. And so his theory is that we went from a play-based childhood to a phone-based childhood, that kids with smartphones are hooked up to the internet and social media 24 hours a day, and that's causing problems. So he has 4 solutions. The first one is no cell phones in school, which is something that's happening here in Davenport right now. The second one is no smartphones before you're in high school. The third one is no social media before you're 13. And the last one is more unstructured, play-based freedom for kids, playing without parents running the games.
Yeah.
So that kids become more resilient and problem solvers on their own.
What I really liked about that book was that he identifies a problem, but then he also gives a call to action. You know, it doesn't just say, well, here's where we are, tough. Yeah.
It's a little bit controversial because it's a big topic. And of course, it's a little bit complicated what causes a mental illness. It's not just one thing.
Exactly.
But I think that it's obviously interesting to a lot of people because it's got about 40 holds on it right now.
And then what is your last book here? This one's kind of a different flavor of nonfiction.
Yes, it's very different, and I wouldn't have noticed it unless I was looking for the popular nonfiction. She wrote, over an entire year, she wrote an essay for each week. That's 52 essays, and it's from observing her backyard. And Margaret Renkl writes a column for the New York Times, and it's usually based on nature. So she really is very observant, and she's a beautiful writer. Once I started reading it, I just got pulled in. So descriptive. She's so observant about nature, bugs, trees, birds, and I just couldn't put it down. I think she observes things like spiders, and one of her influencers was E.B. White. If you remember from Charlotte's Web, he also was someone who observed nature.
And this one too, I mean, they all have such layers and such depth to them, but this one she wrote kind of during the pandemic and when her kids were coming back to live with her as an adult and they moved back out again, and kind of all of the humanness that goes with nature.
Oh, besides nature, she's pulling in her family story, all of that which comes with the emotions and the activities of the family. And interestingly, her brother illustrated the book, Billy Renkl, so each essay has a beautiful color picture.
Well, aside from the books, you guys have been going through a massive renovation at LeClaire. When are you going to celebrate your brand new interior?
Well, this happens to be our 20th anniversary year, so we are going to have a big party October 20th. That's a Sunday afternoon. The Friends of the Library are throwing the party. We're planning to have children's activities, hopefully a visit from a famous blue dog, and food, live music, and people can come and see what's been done. Thanks to the City of LeClaire, the Friends of the LeClaire Library, the Hubbell Waterman Foundation, the ALA Accessible Libraries Grant, we've been able to get automatic doors to make our library more accessible, all new carpet, paint, furniture. It's just great.
You name it.
Yeah.
And in the few seconds that we have left, tell me about your monthly senior social hour.
One program I'm really proud of, and a patron started this for us. She said, I need a place to get out. I'm new in town. I need to meet people, and people my age. So every second Tuesday at 10 o'clock in the morning, we have just a gathering, the senior social hour. And it varies a lot depending on what people are interested in that month. But we would have conversation, food, and sometimes a little learning about, say, scams seniors could be liable to fall for. But I find this group was a little smarter about that than I was.
Well, thank you so much for your time, for bringing these books in. You got a lot going on in LeClaire. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. I loved it.
And for you guys at home, if you want to check out any of the books or the programs we talked about today, or on any of our current read segments, you can head over to the As Seen on TV tab of WQAD.com.